Today, we're discussing the 1997 psychological thriller, mind-bending anime film, Perfect Blue. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 11 of the Film Ignite podcast. For all things film and all things TV, this is the place to be. Perfect Blue released in 1997 and is directed by Satoshi Kon and follows Mima, a member of a Japanese pop idol group who leaves the music industry for a career in acting. She then becomes the victim of a stalker and starts to lose her grip on reality. I need to start off with the overall atmosphere and tone that this movie gave me. Going into it, I knew it was going to be some sort of dark psychological thriller movie, but I didn't really know much about the plot. The film does a very good job of setting up and building towards a deeply unsettling and disturbing feeling. From the opening scenes, something just feels off about the world we're placed in, and as time goes on and revelations unfold, more and more creepy and disturbing things start to happen. The film starts out with a concert from the group Cham, and the three members are performing on stage, but right before the last song, Mima, the main character, tells everyone that this is her last song with the group and she's leaving Cham. In the forefront of the crowd, this creepy as hell looking dude, looking straight like Sloth from the Goonies, gives one of the best shots of the film, where his hand acts as a platform for Mima to stand on. She's like a trophy, an object, and it's fantastic symbolism for how the people, predominantly men, view the women within the entertainment industry, and more specifically, Mima. As soon as that creepy ass dude is introduced, there's this eerie feeling lingering within the film, and some time passes and Mima gets herself a computer and ends up finding an entire website dedicated to her. It's called Mima's Room, where someone is writing as if they are Mima in the form of diary entries about her day-to-day life. And the scene is masterfully done, and the moments where she realizes that she's reading journal entries on stuff that she did that day is entirely creepy. This is only the beginning of the suffering that Mima is to face, and overall, the film does a great job of slowly dragging in the unsettling aspects, as Mima just tries to shake it off and move on with her life. Once this part of the film gets kicked off, we start to see more of the themes of women in the entertainment industry start to kick into play. Mima lands some smaller roles in a few films, but her agent books her what seems to be her big break. However, the role involves Mima being raped in a strip club scene. Now, Mima's manager, Rumi, is disgusted by this idea, but Mima falls into it, seeing as it's just acting, and she thinks, I just gotta do this to land bigger roles. And man, watching that scene and the way it was executed was so disturbing. You're seeing it from the perspective of the filmmakers directing the scene and how all the male actors around the scene are acting, and then the director yells action, and you're forced into the scene, into the moment, and it gets really intense and really hard to watch. And it's obviously just acting, it's just a movie scene, but it feels so much more than that. The best part is when the director yells cut and the entire scene just abruptly ends, sort of like a snap back into reality, and then he yells action again and they go right back into it. It all feels like a sick dream in some way, and it's really hard to watch, but it's brilliant filmmaking. It also sends a message as to what women have to go through to see their acting careers take off, what women are unfortunately subjected to for the sake of acting, to what lengths are enough, and what is the price for fame. Seeing as Mima is the only female in that entire sequence just shows the power and presence that the males have in the industry and women's careers as a whole. I honestly think the movie is made even better by these themes because sadly, I think the messages and themes still remain relevant to this day, especially in the way women in the entertainment industry in general are treated today. A lot of the movie focuses on the mental trauma that women in the entertainment industry go through in the public's eye. We see on various occasions men talking in the street, looking at the photographs and images, making their comments, but all those male actions are represented all through one character, and that's the creepy stalker guy. He's the physical representation of all that is wrong with how we view our so-called idols in pop culture. We have this tendency to act like they always owe us something. Like when Mima quit singing, the stalker called her a traitor. At the end of the day, they do this for a living or to fulfill something within themselves, because a lot of people like actors or writers and stuff in Hollywood do it to express themselves creatively, artistically, to, I guess, fulfill something, whether in themselves or to put something out there for others to enjoy. For Mima's sake, it seems she wants to fulfill something within herself as a person. That's why she wants to be an actress. And that's what makes it all the more heartbreaking seeing what she has to go through, all because people just want to have things the way that they want. Now, after that entire scene takes place, this is where the movie starts going absolutely off the rails. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I just mean that reality starts to become distorted to the audience as well as Mima. Now, from this point forward, we are subjected to a plethora of weird dreamlike sequences and events that make the viewer question their grip on reality. One very interesting element was that the movie they were filming within the film is about a girl losing her sense of reality, and that worked very well with the meta filmmaking aspects. Mima is essentially suffering from psychosis. She's unable to tell what's real and what's not, and the audience is also taken on that emotional and physical journey with her. It is very confusing, but very intriguing and engaging to watch. It's like you're trying to piece together a mental puzzle, but the pieces keep changing every few seconds, and just when you think you've got a grip on reality, it shifts into something totally new. I appreciate the turn this film took, and how rapidly things spiral out of control, and it works so well because of the slow burn the opening of the film took to gradually get to this point, to let it all burst out into wild mental trauma insanity. Another reason this portion of the film works all so well, and I gotta say majority of the film too, is the editing. The editing in this film is impeccable. When I tell you, there are so many genius transitions from scene to scene that work so well in conveying the blurred lines of what is real and what is fake, that it helps trick the audience as well and sort of snaps us awake out of the dream state every once in a while, but we still don't know whether we're dreaming or in reality. Throughout her psychosis breakdown, she keeps seeing a vision of her former self floating around and like teasing her, nagging her, trying to belittle her, making her feel like she ruined her reputation and will never be anything. Well, it turns out the vision she's seeing isn't actually a vision at all, but her manager Rumi, who has taken on the persona as her own, and she was the one behind Mima's room and all the murders that took place. I need to talk about the murder scenes because they come as a shock and they come in brutal. The pizza delivery scene was so unexpected and gave the first glimpse of the dark horrors that Rumi was facing. The entire murder aspect almost leads you to believe that maybe Mima was behind the murders and she didn't think she was. Maybe she really just was insane. But obviously near the end, it's revealed to have all been Rumi. The fact that this entire elaborate plot was able to fit into an 80-minute movie is fascinating because the film never wastes a minute to set up a character or play tricks with the audience, putting us in Mima's head as we experience the distortion between reality and something else. The cinematography is also beautiful. There's no other word to describe it. Every frame could be a painting, and the overall 90s anime aesthetic is so pleasing to the eye and works so well for the eerie sort of grittiness of the film. It has some grain to it, and it's not completely HD like newer anime, giving it that older aesthetic. I have so much respect for the artists who work on anime and hand draw every single frame. The use of color is perfect within the film. The dark glaring reds, the dark gray hallways, all give the film an atmosphere that works perfectly for its story and themes. What do I believe the title Perfect Blue to represent? Well, there's probably an explanation out there from the director or others who have analyzed the film, but I want to give my opinion. So in North America, the color blue is often associated with sadness, rain, depression, all make me think of blue. But in Japan, however, blue represents purity and cleanliness. I take this to mean cleanliness of the soul, and perfect blue means a perfect soul, a soul clear of distortion from the psychosis that Mima suffered, but she clearly now sees who she is, and that the life around her is real. I haven't watched very many anime movies. Actually, this may be my first, but I was very pleasantly surprised with the direction that this film took. It is a very thought-provoking, emotionally impactful movie with mind-bending subplots, brilliant filmmaking to be witnessed, and an incredibly simple story, yet a story worth telling. And I think it will stand the test of time for years to come. There's something about a movie being timeless that gives it the status that this movie has. Being able to resonate and send a message that makes sense years down the line is definitely a benefit for a movie like this, in which so many elements are at play. That after a first viewing, you may just be asking what the hell you just watched, and none of it made any sense. But after viewing, sitting and thinking about it all, it just hits you with how brilliant it all is, and it also helps that just generally as a film, voice acting wise, cinematography wise, editing, sound design, dialogue, it's all fantastic. Perfect Blue just may be perfect. But as we know, there's no such thing as perfect, but for now, this movie remains one that will stick with me for a long time, and I hope to revisit it many times down the road. Those are all my thoughts on Perfect Blue. The Film Ignite podcast is meant to ignite discussion on all things film and TV, so I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Perfect Blue? What are your interpretations of the title? And did the psychosis sequences blow your mind like they did mine? New episodes of the Film Ignite podcast are released every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to check out the Film Ignite YouTube channel for more movie discussions and reviews. As always, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode.